Hello ladies and gents, welcome to another repair video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this PlayStation 4 Slim which has been sent in, and this particular console has no power to the Blu-ray drive. So if we take a look at the ticket, I've obviously got to cover up some of the information because of customer name and things like that, but we can take a look at the ticket and it says PS4 Slim, no power to the Blu-ray drive. So I've seen quite a lot of these in the past few days. Some of them successful, some of them not. And I thought I'd do a video on it because I don't think I've got a video for the PS4 Slim Blu-ray issues. And it's certainly an interesting one in terms of the reasons why it could be broken. So, like always, I'm going to pop in a power cable and a HDMI lead. And we're going to see if we can replicate the issue. And then we're going to see if we can fix it. Let's go over to the capture card then. Let's turn it on. Okay, so I'll try my best to get the blue light and things in the shot. Oh, never mind, we don't need to. Right, so coming up on the screen then, let's press the power button, or the disk drive power button. And I hear a strange noise coming from that. So I'm not sure if you're going to hear that. So I'm not sure if that's going to come across. Now, the annoying thing about this is the fact that I'm not going to be able to test it afterwards. So I'm not going to be able to test it on video. However, I do need to test it, so I'm going to have to get that passcode before this gets confirmed as complete. Right, so let's... yeah, so there's nothing at all there, so I am trying to insert a disc there and we're getting nothing. And usually what will happen is it will try and spit it out when it's half in. Okay. So there's no power to the Blu-ray drive. Now this is a rather interesting one because there is a strange noise coming from it, like it's supposed to be trying to get something. Now, like I said, the annoying thing is I'm not going to be able to verify whether a disc actually loads or not, but we can at least try and get it to accept a disc. So I'll take those heatsink thermal pads, or the heatsink thermal pads, those thermal pads off the RAM chips and put them onto the metal chassis because, to be honest, I get fed up of replacing them because I keep losing them. So now I'll just take them straight off and put them onto the chassis instead because then I can't lose them. Right, so given the fact that this is making some weird noises, the first thing I'm going to check is the fuse by the disk drive motor controller. I'm going to take the board out because I want to test everything anyway, but the first one I'm going to check is the one on the back of the board. Let's get the power supply out actually, because there's going to be antennas underneath as well. Okay, there we go. And just remove this antenna from here. There we go. And there we go. Right, you are. So let's get the motherboard out then, shall we? So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to go under the microscope, but the first one I'm going to check is the one on the back of the board. I'm going to put the console chassis to one side for now, and I'm going to go under the scope. So if we take a look just by where the disk drive motor connects, we've got this chip just here, and this chip here is the Blu-ray drive chip, the BDP I think it is, and this is basically the, or I believe this is the motor controller for the Blu-ray drive. So because it's making some weird and wonderful noises, I want to check this area out first. And what I could do is I could replace this chip. So it's a BD7764MUV, and I believe it controls the motor. I'm not 100%, but I believe it controls the motor. So let's check the fuse around here. So what I'm going to do first of all then is I'm going to put my multimeter into continuity mode. That's the mode that's going to beep when we complete the circuit. And we've got two fuses here. I believe this R330 is probably a current sensor resistor or something, because it's got really low resistance. But I'm going to check this, make sure that this is good. We get 3 ohms, which is, it should be okay. I think they're usually around 2, but that should be fine. And the next thing we're going to check is F6001, which is a fuse which controls power to this chip. So let's test that, and that is good. So that fuse is fine. So if we flip the board around then, we come to this area here on the left hand side of the APU with the USB ports towards the front of the board where your body is. So basically this chip here is the dreaded Renesas chip, and if this chip is dead, it is absolutely 100% game over. But what usually happens is we've got a few fuses. So we've got several fuses on this line, and they usually protect the board. So we've got 2 here. So we've got F6201 and F6202. And then just here we have another one, which is, I can't remember the number of this one, but this is another fuse. Let's check this one first in continuity mode. And that is good. And then we're going to check these two up here. So this left hand one is usually the one that blows. So let's check the right first. And that's good. And the left is good. Okay, that might not be good news. I don't see anything out of the ordinary, which is probably bad news for us. Right, so because those fuses are testing okay, the next port of call would be to have a look at the disk drive itself. So I'm going to bring the disk drive back up. I'm just going to see if there's any reason inside that I can see why it wouldn't accept a disk drive. So I'm going to have to take the disk drive out, but that's not a problem. It's not too difficult to get it out. Yeah, if it's not this, then my next port of call will be the... Okay, there's a disc in here. Okay, so let's get that disk out then. So that's why it's not accepting a disk. There's a disk jammed. I mean, if it's not... if it's not this, then the next port of call will be... okay, that's a bit strange. NBA 2K16, and I'll try to put NBA 2K17 in. Yeah. Oh well. Right. Yeah, if it's not this, yeah, okay, there's your culprit right there. That's just dropped out of it. That looks like a Connect 4 piece or something. So, you know, the board game. Yeah, if it's not this, then obviously I will look into other issues, such as an issue with the motor controller itself. I don't see any other reason why it would possibly not work. Let's put it back together and try it, shall we? There we go. And now I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to see if we get power to the disk drive. There we go. So let's turn her on. And I can't hear any weird noise now, but let's press the power button. No more weird noise. Is it going to take a disc? Let's use the customer's disc. Look at that, how weird is that? I was trying it with NBA 2K17 and it had NBA 2K16 in. That's madness. Nope. Nope. Not fixed it. Right, so what I want to do then, because this is still taken apart, I'm going to check and see if this motor controller gets warm when I'm putting a disc in. Because it should get a little bit warm, but it shouldn't get red hot. Right, so is the drive out of alignment then? Because of the trapped object. That's what I've got a feeling has happened now, and the reason for that is because I can hear that motor spinning. That motor is spinning, so I'm gonna say it probably needs everything realigning. Interesting. Okay, so I'll pop that to one side. And I'm going to find another disk drive. I'm going to have another look inside here first though. I'm going to find another disk drive and hope that replacing the drive fixes it. Or at least part of the drive anyway. Okay, so Is that stuck? I believe that is stuck. Right, that's interesting. I didn't notice that before. But that should move freely and it doesn't. Now the question is, can I get this? Oh, there we go. So yeah, that's loosened up now. So the way it should work is when the disc inserted, this goes like this, and then this pushes up like that and allows this to release and allows this to spin freely. But if that's stuck, then this can't release and it can't spin freely, if that makes sense. So has that freed it up? I don't know. Now another thing is they shouldn't spin that freely. So these rollers shouldn't be that free. They should be spinning with the motor, not on their own. Yeah, I mean, that's making no difference. So this might need a full disk drive rebuild. Maybe. Right, so I think this has probably come off its tracks somehow. So I'm going to open up the top as well. Whoops. So something has happened to the motor. There we go. That should lift up freely now. Okay. So where's that gone? There should be another one there. Because that has got no way of spinning with that. So where's the extra piece? Where's the extra piece, eh? Okay, never mind. I will find a piece to fit. So I've got myself a SAC drive. So if I remove that, we take a look at this donor drive. That is assuming I can take every screw out. Never mind. So we're missing a pretty important piece to this puzzle, which is this piece here. So if I pop that onto there like that, you'll see in a second when I've popped this back down there, you'll see that this will now spin with the rest of it. So if I spin this now, you can see those rollers spinning, and also those rollers no longer move freely. I should have noticed that before, but I was too busy removing the foreign object from the drive to notice. So how that foreign object has got in there in the first place, I'll never know. And secondly, how that piece is missing, I will also never know, because someone has to have been inside here for that piece to go walkabouts. So someone's been tinkering, haven't they? Someone's been having a little bit of a mooch. So let's get this back together then, and then hopefully, well, I'm not even, you know what, I'm not even going to say hopefully, this thing's going to work now. This thing is going to work now, and everyone's going to be happy. Okay, so let's get this thing screwed back down. So yeah, that would be the weird noise, because the disk drive, the motor on the disk drive can't move. And this is why, if you don't know what you're doing, don't mess with a live console. That said, unless it's your own. If it's your own, then do what you want, because it's yours. But I'm really hoping that this hasn't been to someone to be fixed, and they've lost a piece to it. But really, I could have done that without disassembling the console, but you live and learn. It is what it is. Right, so now that that piece isn't going to fall out, you'll see now that this isn't going to spin freely because it's reconnected with the gears. So realistically now this should work. This has basically had a disk drive rebuild, and it should realistically work now. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we fix the issue. Hopefully. I'm going to say this has a good chance of being problem solved now. It's definitely not a no power to the disk drive issue, which is actually kind of funny because this kind of issue costs more, because those fuses cost about 10p each, whereas those gears, well, I don't even know how much they cost, to be honest, but they're not 10p each, I'll tell you that much. They're not going to be 10p each. And plus it takes longer to do this, because I've got to sit there and diagnose the circuit, and then I've got to sit there and diagnose the disk drive because the circuit's fine. So, I mean, yeah, it takes longer. Now, granted, it's not going to take me as long if I'm not doing a video. That is a given. However, it still takes longer. I mean, I've been doing this for an hour now, so it would have took me at least half an hour, 40 minutes to do this off camera. Please work. Okay, I don't need the HDMI. Turn it on. And take the same game. Voila! And there we go. Eject. Smooth as a baby's bum. Excellent. Right, I'm going to take the power back out. And I'm going to get it put back together. And this time, we're going to test it fully. Oh, actually, no, we can't test it fully, can we? Yeah, that's a good point. I can't test it fully. So, I'm going to have to get the passcode. So what I'll do is... It is 12:15 at night now, so I'm going to leave this exactly where it is. Because I need to contact the customer, or rather contact the business that sent this, get them to contact the customer and get the customer to give me the passcode so I can test it. Until then, there is absolutely nada that I can do. I'm going to say that this is probably going to work. That is the bottom line. This is probably going to work. So, like I said, I'm going to need the customer to give me the passcode so I can actually test it. But other than that, it's now taking a disc. It's now taking a disc in, whereas before it wasn't. So, I'm going to end the video here. Obviously, you've seen that we've rectified the problem. So, just to summarise then, this console was sent because there was no power to the disk drive. Now, just by using my ears alone, I was able to determine that there was some sort of power going to the disk drive. Obviously, I checked the fuses on the motherboard first, so you got to look at and see where those fuses are. Now, usually when the disk drive has no power, one of those fuses has gone. If it doesn't read, one of those fuses has gone. But given the fact that this did have power, obviously we couldn't see it because it's behind a plastic cover. But given the fact that it did have power and there was nothing wrong with the actual fuses, then it could have been down to one of two things. It's either the disk drive itself or it's this Blu-ray motor controller. So the motor controller on this is different on some certain motherboards, like for example that one there. So this motherboard here, ignore the fact that there's burnt flux everywhere. This had a reflow and it didn't work, so yeah, that's why it's a donor board. But yeah, this was actually a board that was dead from factory. And I tried reflowing the APU in case it didn't get put on right, and it was still dead. So yeah, so some boards like the SAF use this type of motor controller here, which is typically found on the Xbox One daughter boards as well. So like these ones, for example, so you can see there, that's got the same controller. But then some of the boards use a normal QFN style chip, like the one on the SAE 003 board. So it was down to one or two things. It was either down to this chip here or the disk drive itself. Now, I'm not just going to sit there and take a chip off that's very, very close to plastic connectors for no reason. So, obviously, I opted for the simpler solution of testing the disk drive first. So, obviously upon opening the disk drive up, we found a couple of things wrong. Number one was that there was a disk stuck in it, so that's why it wasn't accepting a disk. And number two was that we had some sort of a foreign object in there. So it looks like someone has tried to play Connect 4 with the PS4, and looks like they lost. The PS4 won. But yeah, so that was one of the things that was wrong. Obviously we had a foreign object in there, but then that still didn't work. So on closer inspection we found out that one of the gears was missing. Now obviously if you've got a gear missing, then it's breaking the circuit. It's like cutting through a line on the power cable. It's breaking the circuit. So this is the one that I took the gear out of. They're exactly the same on all of the disk drives, I believe, but this is the one I took the gear out of. But obviously this has to move one way, this has to move another way, and it's got a junction in the middle, so that gear sits here. And obviously if that gear is missing, you know, one's turning, or rather this one would be turning, because that's the one with the belt on. So obviously the motor would turn, this one would turn, but this one has no way to turn. So by replacing that on this one and putting the one out of this drive in, we've successfully managed to get this to take a disc. And I'm presuming that that's all that's going to be wrong with it. Now it might end up needing a new laser as well because of the amount of damage. Obviously if that's the case, it's just a simple case of taking the board back out, taking this top off and replacing the laser. That's a simple enough job. However, I'm not going to cover that on video because, like I said, you've already seen me take the laser out, so that's completely pointless. This is obviously the customer's disc, so I'm going to pop that back in there so I don't lose it. So yeah, I mean obviously we should get some sort of an idea on whether or not this is working now, because if we offer up a disc to this now, then it's going to turn the console on, and it does. So turns the console on, takes it in smooth as a baby's bottom, and if you listen, hopefully that's coming across on camera, but that disc is spinning absolutely fine now. And this console, I'd say, is most likely going to work. But I'm going to leave it there for this video. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section down below. If you want to see more repair videos where I attempt to fix mainly consoles, but sometimes other things too, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications so that you're notified every time that I upload. I am trying really hard to get to 5,000 subs. At the time of recording this, we are on 4,902. We are super close, and I'm going to be giving away a PlayStation 4 when we get to 5,000 subs. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed now, because you're not going to want to miss that giveaway video. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see you later. Bye for now.